11th of November 2020. I'm going to go straight into this little piece. So, the human race as the recognisable part of humanity that is sort of recognisable, first recognisable humans that we would probably recognise as humans today, was around 200,000 years ago. 200,000 years ago. And that's a hell of a long time. But that's insignificant compared to the actual life of the planet and how long it's been transforming and creating. And that goes into the hundreds of millions of years before that all life was still being created, and so billions of life forms have existed, billions have disappeared, and everything like that over the millennia. But it was only 10,000 years ago, just 10, that's a very short time when you've cut that down from the 200,000 that we've been around. Just only 10,000 years ago was when we first started farming. More or less around 10,000 years ago was only when we first started using horses, and only the first time when we first started actually using the milk of another species to feed us. Nothing at all about what we're taking from a cow is natural. Somebody decided to work out and use the secretion of another species. Yeah, we did some really weird stuff in the past. Really weird. And it is weird. It's strange in the extreme. But that was the way that our thought processes were working, and that's probably where we've started making. Well, I think we started. That's where we started our beginning of all our confusion about everything about the natural world. Because as soon as we were into actually not just hunting other animals, but actually starting to use other animals in ways other than for eating and clothing and stuff, then we really started to confuse ourselves right from that time. And it also helped to even diversify the humanity overall as well, to create the massive wars, battles and feudal conflicts all over the world at that time. Well, ever since then that we've gone through. The differences in the way that we think of things are the basic cause of nearly all our troubles. Lots of it down to the basic things is always, for most of humanity, has always been that if something's different, it's bad. So if some area starts to create a culture that they believe everything, that then they get used to everything that each of us does, and then they suddenly come across something that's not what their culture is, and that's where ultimate clashes started to happen, and continued to happen for 10,000 years. 10,000 years of fighting over more or less nothing, really. And probably even more so at those times, because of it wasn't as though they should have had to. There was plenty, well, it's plenty of land, let alone anything else, for everybody at that time. So it's ridiculous, and it's because they formed communities and everything, bringing thousands of people together, or hundreds of thousands, and that is enough to create mobs. And this is what they were, mobs. The sort of things that you get now in mass rallies and things like that across the world. It's a massively crazy time. Our farming was the most seriously wrong thing to be doing, in that bringing animals into it to actually farm animals, because of by doing that we started right there and then to start dissociating, creating a dissonance for any compassion for the animals that we were actually consuming. That dissonance was already starting right there with the introduction of farming. With hunting, there was a dissonance already, but that dissonance did not the dissonance was already there, yes it was, but dissonance in farming meant that animals could and were treated in far worse conditions than they should ever naturally endure. However, whatever their situation in the wild is, it's in farming. It was always worse. We've always had the people that don't like animals, or they love animals, and they still just cause such suffering to the ones that they've brought into their home, into their lives for food. It should never have been happening. Once farming started, the whole idea of eating animals should have stopped more or less there and then, because they were already at that time producing more crops than they needed. And that was why they had animals as well. Because of the excess they were feeding, the excess crops that they didn't need, they were actually feeding to their animals. In just 10,000 years, because of the wars, because of not allowing our intelligence to understand what we were doing to everything around us, by not understanding that we were actually harming animals, we did not understand that we were actually harming our environment around us at the same time. And even now, although to some most extent, well, even to only some for most of us, not to the extent we are understanding the damage now, but we are understanding it by far too late. And even now, quite a majority of people are of no care for that damage that we've caused. Almost none are, really. Even the ones that are saying, "Oh yes, we've damaged this planet," they're not serious enough. They're not serious enough about it because of the alteration that needs to be made to bring this planet back to any type of natural structure that it should have. It's not going to happen the way we're going. Even with how far we've gone so far with trying to understand it, we've still got too many people in power who are denying truth. This cannot continue to happen. We know that just 10,000 years ago, 1% of the world's animal population was human. 1%. The wild was 99%. Today, the wild is about 1%. Humanity and the farmed animals are the majority. There is almost nowhere on Earth that man has not trod. We've terrorized Earth into this mass extinction. We've killed, we've raped, we've plundered. We've done the worst atrocities to this world ever. The depths of how horrific we have been and are being to all beings on this planet is not ending. It's not stopping. And this is not despotic. I'm not despotic about this. This is what it is. I've changed to do what I can, which is not enough. Even this video is not enough. Somewhere we have to have everybody getting some compassion. We have evolved with an intelligence, but the intelligence is insufficient. We have an intelligence, that knows enough in some individuals, but some individuals are not allowed to tell the truth. Truth is denied. It is denied at this present time by our own governments, by multiple organisations, commercial, but particularly by the industries that use and kill animals. There are lots of reasons, and that's a problem in itself, in that because we have grown to such a massive, unsustainable population, and it is totally unsustainable, this population. That it's just wrong. It's just wrong. We are wrong. Yeah, the complications because of the 7.8 billion people that are here now means that truthful ideas are drowned out by masses of wasteful other theories, ideas that should be rooted out and just discarded. Truth is simple. Truth is always simple. And that's why the human brain that loves lots of brains love confusion. They love so many different ways of going about things. They really do not like simple. Simple, absolutely simple. Another animal, chicken, a pig, a dog, a cat, an individual with a perception of everything as much as our own, not like our own, but exactly as much as our own. They've got their own perception in their own bodies, and the way they look at everything, like we look at everything now, they have their own way of looking at everything themselves, to themselves. They are an individual with their own feelings, their own thoughts. They are there. They are not us, but they are like us. And all of us needs to see that it should be a basic. They have a right. We have a right. And that should always be the case. To save this world, we do have to end the farming of animals. They take up too much. We use too much land. that we simply do not need, that could be wild, that could be biodiverse. This is the land that should be back to being the natural land that should always be out there. There is almost no natural land anymore. There'll be land that looks like it's natural. We have just within less than half a mile from where I am now, we have land that was industrial coal mined land. If you walk there now, for most of it, you might think that it's a very natural area, very natural. You might work out that it wasn't to some extent in some parts, but you would think that it'd been there ever since, like it's never been changed at all. But almost all of it has around here. It's not natural because of humans have used it, decimated it, then recreated it. So, and this is what must happen to most of all farmland. We do not need vast open areas of land with nothing but crops on and farm animals on. We do not need flat lands of nothing. All those fields that have those crops that feed the animals and the animals that feed us, we don't need them. All those lands could be filled with vegetation and masses of trees and biodiversity. Instead, it's all dead land. Little vegetation, just the grass top at the best, or crop top, as it is. It's not good enough. We are in such we're in such trouble. You've got answers. I've got to give you answers here. Always the other issues that climate rebellion will bring up and everything like that, they're all absolutely essential as well. But without ending animal farming, we will never fully accept that the wild world can ever be its natural self, because we'll continue to have a dissonance in an acceptance of harming and killing animals for ourselves. And all the time that we have that, we will never create our intelligence enough to be able to help ourselves. We will always go along the greedy route of just doing everything that is absolutely necessary and not what is truly necessary.